Hey guys, John Griggs here. Today we're going to be repairing my vintage IBM PC. It has multiple operating systems on it. It's my weekend project that I've been wanting to do for a while. So as you can see, when we try to load Windows 3.1, the computer freezes up and then crashes. This is the same for other versions of Windows. I think the only two that are working on it right now are Windows 2000 and Windows XP. When we try to load Windows Millennium, it doesn't even do anything. It just results back to the operating system choice menu. So we're going to boot into Windows 2000 and we're going to take a look at a couple of things here. Another issue is when this computer was originally done, the hard drives were kind of done backwards. This has a solid state hard drive with a IDE to SATA converter on it, and then a standard IDE hard drive in it. And the problem is the newer operating systems are on the older hard drive, and the older operating systems are on the newer hard drive, so the performance is backwards. We even get an error right here when we try to pull up the storage management to look at the hard drives. And what we're going to be looking at right here is the partitions of the hard drives. And what the partitions are is what actually segments the hard drives into usable drives that the computer can see. So up top we have the SSD with 190 gigs that we're not even using. And then below that we have the 37 gigabyte IDE drive. So we need to straighten all of this out. So the first step is backing up everything. Right here I'm on Windows 2000 because it's one of the only ones that works, and I'm going through the MS-DOS, Windows 98 or Millennium Edition and 2000, and I'm backing up everything onto a segment partition of the SATA hard drive so that I can take it out and hook it up to my other computer and back everything up on another computer, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be erasing this entire machine. So now I'm booting into Windows XP and we're going to be doing the same thing. Here it is opened up, looking down from the top, and we can see the Pentium 2 processor that's installed in it. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is I have to repartition all the hard drives. So the partition is where the data actually sits on the drive. It's what segments out the hard drive. You can have one hard drive that shows up as multiple drives on a machine, which is what I'm going to be doing with this one. So the problem is I'm going to be trying to use a 30 or newer hard drive in a machine that's a completely different component hookup. I have to go through MS-DOS and I have to make sure that everything is correct. So I'm deleting and repartitioning the original IDE drive, and I'm repartitioning the SATA drive as well to accommodate for MS-DOS, Windows 1, Windows 2, Windows 3, Windows 98, Windows 2000, and Windows XP. And finally we've gotten to the part where our first operating system we're going to install is actually Windows 98, and we're going to be doing that on the solid state. The reason that we're starting with Windows 98 is because I have an original Microsoft Windows 98 installation disk. It's the easiest operating system to install at first because I can just put the CD in and it does it. Windows 98 will give me a lot more options to move forward with the installations that are a lot easier to deal with within this operating system, say, versus doing it in MS-DOS or another way. Because another thing that I'm going to be doing is a lot of the other operating systems I'm just going to copy to the SATA hard drive on my other computer and then run the setup installation from within Windows. Alright, so we've successfully installed Windows 98. We're going to move some files around and change some settings and move forward from there. We're going to go ahead and we're going to install Windows 2000 from within Windows 98. Now, when I was doing the partitions, I gave Windows 98 the primary partition on the solid state with 16 gigabytes of hard drive space. I'm going to be doing the same for Windows 2000. These operating systems don't really require much space, and I'm going to be putting multiple segments on this hard drive so I can spread everything out. Now, Windows 2000 is a good operating system to have. It's very secure and robust, and it does a lot of data stuff. It's a good operating system, and I like it. And here we are with Windows 2000 installed. And of course now we're moving on to Windows XP. Now Windows XP was run from within the Windows 2000, and I have allocated 32 gigabytes and its own partition for it. So when we look, when the when the computer actually comes on, we'll have a C, D, E, F, and it'll say Windows 98, Windows 2000, Windows XP, MS-DOS, and stuff like that. Now that we've completed the Windows XP setup, I'm going to be going back into MS-DOS, and I'm going to be setting up the partitions and installing MS-DOS 6.22, Windows 1.1, Windows 2.01, and Windows 3.11. And for the final round, we are installing Windows 1, 2, and 3 here. Okay, the computer is finished and put back together. I want to warn everybody that due to the camera, it's making the screen appear to flicker a lot. So if you have flash issues, you probably shouldn't watch. Here we are going into MS-DOS, and we're going to be greeted by a custom BAT file that I created to easily load up the different versions of Windows. Here's Windows 1.01. This is the first Windows ever created. Now we're going to go into Windows 2.03. These windows have a lot of cool features in them. I just think it's nostalgic to have them on there. My favorite one is Windows 3.1. It has the most functionality and a lot of support, and I can boot all kinds of MS-DOS stuff from it. I can still edit files. We also have other programs on here, so I've actually put some of my programs back on here. This is an MS-DOS program that actually uses a random algorithm to create images. It'll never create the same image twice, and it tests the video graphics card, and everything's running fine. And then for good measure, we're just going to load up Doom. It's one of the old games, MS-DOS games that I like to play, and everything is working smooth. The sound is working. The computer's running very well. It's not having any issues. It's not getting hot. Now we're going to go and we're going to check the other versions of Windows. We're booting Windows 98, and as you can see, that starts up just fine. And after that, we're going to load up Windows 2000 and Windows XP. I really appreciate everybody that is watching this. I had a lot of fun repairing this computer. It's been something that I've been wanting to do for many months. It just started getting worse and worse, and different things started getting corrupted as time went along, and I lost some of my games. And now it's fixed, and now I can go back to enjoying it and doing all the stuff that I do on it. I actually use this computer for a lot of things. Even though it's very old, I can still create, you can create websites on it, play games on it, and it's just the nostalgia of having the old operating systems. So I appreciate everybody, and thank you so much for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed it.